Hello, I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. Today's topic, the toxicity of cherry picking. What is the toxicity of cherry picking? Cherry picking, we think of what? The Bible. Do we cherry pick? Oh yes, most of us do. We all have, I'd have to say. What is one way that we cherry pick that is actually very toxic and harmful? One way is that we take every single Bible verse, those that believe in certain religions, as though they are carved in stone. One thing I found about the Bible is that it can be hypocritical, even though it's not meant to be. But again, people take things as though they are carved in stone, and there's absolutely no exceptions to that. So, what is one way that it can be toxic? It can be toxic if it harms other people. So, let's take one of the most popular Bible verses. Honor your mother and father. Also, let's do another one that could go with that. Is how the Bible states that spouses should put their other spouse first, above their children. No. Why does it say to do that? It's saying to do that because it's implying that parents are role models to their children, and it's actually teaching them to be what they should be in life. Well, you know what? If that was the case, man, I'd be a really awful person. Because if I followed my mother or father's ways, I would be an evil person. So, that's where it can be hypocritical. Because even though I don't believe in God, if you really look into the Bible and you don't cherry pick, it does state that God doesn't want us to be surrounded by evil people. That could go into what people say as the famous quote is, you surround yourself with positive people and stay away from negative people. That goes along with those many quotes based upon that. So, what does one do when they're in an abusive relationship? Blood is not thicker than water. Family. So, what if they're family and they're being abusive to you? Does that mean that you should stay in that relationship? No, absolutely not. Even though it says honor your mother and father, in the Bible it also states that one does not deserve to be treated in evil, cruel ways. Evil. What's evil? Abuse is evil. Abuse harms another person. That can go along with putting the spouse first. How is that spouse a good role model for those children? One of the verses in the Bibles, actually many of them, is that parents are supposed to be the role models. In the Bible, the role models for God would be that they do things that are good and positive, to teach those children to be good followers of God. Good followers of God do not do things that will harm other people. I spent many years as to where I was shunned and shamed for not looking up to my three assoholics. And I won't. I'm actually very proud of myself that I did not follow their ways, because their abusive ways actually harmed me in so many ways, and as I've stated, is that that's where the mental health field has the flaw, is that they actually use the excuse and exception, stating that if somebody was raped, they're more likely to rape somebody else over somebody else that wasn't raped. Well, that insults victims of abuse. They would think the same thing about me. Well, I've been raped. Have I ever wanted to rape somebody else? Never. And I've never done it. Okay, I've been abused by my parents and my sibling. Do I find it right to abuse others? Do I abuse others? Do I intentionally abuse others? No. Do I feel ashamed if I do something that harms another person? Yes, absolutely. In the case with my 3 assoholics, do they feel any shame for harming me? No, because I have not received any apology from them. I have not seen any change in them. So, another thing that people will cherry pick is that with the honor your mother and father, is that I should always look up to them and be in their life. Also, they bring in with our culture as society is that, your family is forever. Well, my family is not forever. I don't see any relationship in my life as being forever anymore. I want positive people in my life. So what have I been doing lately? I have been associating with people that are religious and do believe in God. As I've stated in past videos, is that I myself have stopped believing in God, and I'm currently no longer religious in any way, but I have found good people that are positive, that are religious. I believe that there's a higher power, somebody higher than me, up there somewhere, just like my friend, but I'm not religious and I don't follow the Bible word for word. I believe that it's just like any other book that somebody can write, is the way that I feel about it. There are certain quotes in there that actually make sense and are, something that is helpful, that I believe, but there's many things in it that I find can actually cause more harm. So, why am I associating with these people if I myself am not religious like they are? It's because they are positive people. They are good to me. They treat me with respect. That's one thing that many people don't understand, is that nowhere in the Bible does it state that we need to stay with people that harm us and don't respect us. That includes family. That's right. So, one of the most recent things that I've actually discussed and already knew is my father. He married my mother. Well, even my sister, my sibling, believes that the spouse comes first. As for why my father chose to stay with my mother while she was abusing me, and he had watched her doing that. Well, that's where cherry picking is toxic, because he is absolutely incorrect that he has to stay with my mother. He doesn't have to stay with that person. That makes him just as sinful as she is, and as evil. What did that do to my father? So let's go back to the honor, the mother and father. Well, when he got with my mother, which is, here's the evil person, and he got with her. Here's his family over here, his mother and his siblings. Family's most important to God, right? As you cherry pick in the Bible, honor the mother and father. Well, what about this spouse? He ends up going to her, right? He goes to her, to the evil, and he outcasts his family because she said so. Yes. Honor the mother and father. How is that honoring his mother by just tossing her out? Exactly. That's where it becomes hypocritical. Honor the mother and father, but then putting the spouse first. So I honestly believe that the Bible should be rewritten as to where it explains how those certain Bible verses can actually contradict each other, and actually explain what honor your mother and father can actually, right underneath it stating, well, if they are abusive to you, that they are not respectful, and that's evil. God tells us to stay away from evil. So I hope eventually, just like with the mental health field, is that the Bible gets rewritten in a way that people will see right there underneath that Bible verse of honor the mother and father, and also the verse that states that you put your spouse first. Because that right there, to me, is very toxic. Cherry picking is very toxic, and the most common problem within those that believe in religion and follow that religion. So my point today is that many people will tell me also that I need to forgive those people that abuse me, the 3 assoholics. I'm at a point, like I just stated, is that I don't see anybody as permanent in my life anymore. I did see that my 3 assoholics at one point, that they were permanent, but that was also from the, what do you call it, mind washing that with the toxic mind washing, that my family is blood. They have to be in my life. As I've stated too to many people, is that I don't see myself as having any family. I've seen too much evil, even with other family members other than my 3 assoholics, that I don't want to be a part of it. And that's very true, because look at me. I lost my faith in God and any religion, and I'm surrounding myself with people that are religious, and that's because they are positive and they aren't evil, as people who are still religious and very much extreme, I should say, into religion would actually say that's a good thing. But then again, that's where it contradicts. They would say, oh, but you just tossed out your family. As for forgiveness, nowhere in the Bible does it state that we need to forgive those who are unrepentant. No, it doesn't state that. I actually got in an argument with somebody recently, a little petty argument, where they're saying you need to forgive for yourself. No, I do not need to forgive. And I made it very clear that I'm not going to get forced to do anything that I don't want to do. Period. Don't tell me what I need to do in order to heal. What I don't need to do is to forgive those who don't deserve to be forgiven and aren't repentant of the harm that they caused me. That should be my choice. Because what did that do to me? That caused me more harm than anything else. By me forgiving and just accepting those ill, or you should say with the religious people, is evil behaviors. I myself am avoiding that, and I am trying my hardest to only surround myself with those that are positive people, who are good people, that are respectful and respectful of others and treating them right. So, cherry picking, the toxicity of cherry picking. That's a huge problem within our society as a whole. Everybody has done it. As you see, I just admitted to doing it myself, because I remained in an abusive relationship due to the brainwashing and mind washing of the religious culture that has different verses that contradict each other and is basically hypocritical, saying one thing but then saying another. So I hope that the Bible changes those verses, and if they're going to say them, they should have right underneath them the things stating that the exceptions to that Bible verse. Honor your mother and father. Put your spouse first. Okay, honor your mother and father. So say that your mother or father abuses you and does evil things. Should state right underneath that verse. If those parents are doing either one of those parents are doing evil things to others, including their children or other family members, that makes them evil, and they should not be honored. Now, putting your spouse first. No. Like with my father's case, he watched my mother and sibling abuse me since I was a young child. If he was not, which made him evil. So that should be right underneath that. It should state that if you are watching another person, including a family member, harm another person, that makes them just as evil to continue that relationship that is harming another person. In that case, my father turned out to be in a relationship that made him an evil person for continuing a relationship that has harmed me for this many years. So, cherry picking, the toxicity of it, that's something that we all should really think about, and that's another thing that needs to change. So, my point here is that, as I've just discussed, is that cherry picking and the toxicity of it has caused our society as a whole extreme amount of harm and damage to many people. So I hope that someday that changes and people actually see through this, just like I feel about the mental health field and the changes needed there, because religion also goes into the mental health field, which it shouldn't, but it does. They use a lot of what comes from religion, but it should not. It should be separated. Just like they say that the church and the state should be separated, I totally agree with that. Until things change and they get that straight and stop the cherry picking toxicity and the being hypocritical, that's right. It should say stay separate until people actually realize what they are doing. So hopefully in time, I know it's many ages from now that will change, just like the mental health field, like I described. But just like Paula J. Kaplan, I do hope that change does happen eventually. So that will be it for now on the toxicity of cherry picking. I'm Shelley Rothus, and I'm a different kind of victim. See you next time.